All right, friends, welcome back to the Ao1 Life Digital Chapel. We took about a 6-week break over Christmas, and we are back and ready to get these things out consistently every single week for the next, probably through the next Christmas break. So we hope you guys enjoyed the break too, and you are refreshed and excited about the new year. We hope you got some good goals going into 2020. I am very cold right now, as you can see from my hat and coat, and part of the reason for that, actually the reason for that, is that I am in a house that has no heat and no electricity. So while you guys were gone over break, my family and my brother's family actually bought a house to remodel, and so while we've been on our own Christmas break, we've been ripping this house apart. And on the weekends, over the next, hopefully, 3 months, we will be continuing to rip this house apart and make it look pretty. So I want to move the screen around so you guys can see what we're dealing with here, and then I'm going to draw some parallels between my experience with this house and our spiritual lives. So hopefully it'll make sense, but I want you guys to see what I am working with here. So I'm just going to turn the camera around so you guys can see. Big open floor plan. We tore down a lot of walls. As you can see, we have a lot of work to do. This is just the main area. There's an upstairs too. If you kind of go around this corner here, you kind of see the upstairs. Upstairs looks a little bit nicer than the downstairs does. I am an activator, and so I like things done yesterday. One of the biggest frustrations with this house, we've had it for almost 5 weeks. As you can see, it looks like we've done absolutely nothing. I mean, it almost looks as if it did when we bought it, besides a little bit of drywall gone. And so it's super frustrating for me as somebody who likes things done right away to spend, like I just spent the last 3 hours here, and I learned a very important lesson. This has nothing to do with the chapel. This is just for your side benefit. You need sharp tools and batteries that are charged and ready to go if you want to have a productive workday. And I came here and all of my batteries for my drills were dead and my saw blades were dull. And so I spent the last 3 hours just being frustrated that nothing worked like I wanted it to. So let me walk you through the process of what we started to do. When we initially bought this house, the first thing we did is we got rid of all of the junk that we didn't need anymore. And so I'm not going to walk out there, but we have a huge 30-yard dumpster out in the back that we didn't think we were going to fill up that much, as is what happens most times when you do house projects. And that thing is almost freaking filled to the max. And so we had a lot more junk in this house than we anticipated. Two, I already mentioned this project is going a lot slower than I thought, my brother-in-law is a contractor. He says we are ahead of pace, so I'm going to trust him. But for me, it just feels like it's going really, really slow. The next thing that we had to do after we kind of got everything cleared out that we didn't need anymore, we need to figure out, okay, with our own skill set, what can we do and what do we need to hire out? Because the last thing you want to do when you get into a house remodel like this, if you do not know how to do electrical work or plumbing or HVAC or any of that stuff, you should probably hire it out, because you could blow your house up, you could ruin it for the next person that's going to own it, and you could actually cost yourself more money than just hiring out in the first place. So there takes some self-awareness to figure out, okay, what can I actually do and what do I just need to fork over money for, because I'm just going to get myself into trouble and it's going to be harder in the long run. And so going into 2020 for you guys, I want to draw a couple parallels between my own experience remodeling this house and where you're at right now. My hope is that you, like most people, set resolutions for the new year. And so I'm hoping you have some sort of goals in mind as you go into 2020. If you are anything like me, though, you are probably frustrated that you're not further along at this point in maybe even your spiritual journey, athletic journey, than you thought you would. You kind of project this maybe a year ago. Future you would look a lot different than you right now. And so if you're like me, maybe you're frustrated that you're not further along, or maybe you have these big goals that, okay, you're not there right now, but But in 6 months, 8 months, if you keep on this discipline track or whatever your New Year's resolution is, if you kind of keep on this new path, this new Bible reading plan, this new book, this new Bible study, this new whatever it is, you're thinking you're going to be in a pretty good spot. And so I want to give you 3 things that I think will be helpful as you pursue whatever is next for you guys. The first thing is this. You need to clear out the junk in your life. And so this takes some self-awareness on your part. A lot of times this helps to do this in community. But what in your life right now do you need to get rid of because it is an obstacle in the way from you getting where you want to go? And so think in terms of where you're at spiritually. Like, what are the things in your life right now that are stunting your growth? This future version of yourself where you, whatever that looks like for you, what right now is going on in your life that could get in the way of you getting there? And then here's the hard part. You need to take it out and you need to throw it in the dumpster. And so that's a metaphor, and that could mean a bunch of different things. But what would it look like for you to clear out the junk in your life? So for me, I'll give you a practical example. My nighttime pacifier is I just like to watch my shows on Netflix. And so when everybody else has gone to bed, I'm watching The Office, I'm watching Parks and Rec, and that just numbs my mind so I can fall asleep. So part of me going into 2020 is, man, what would it look like? Not that that's all bad, but what would it look like if I took that 45 minutes every night and put it towards something like reading the Bible or praying or reading a book, or here's an idea, just going to sleep. And so for me, that is junk in my life. That's not all bad, but it's an obstacle from getting in the way to where I want to go spiritually. And so what are those things in your life that you can get rid of and pursue Christ harder? The second thing is spiritual growth is a journey. It's a process that takes time. And so for me today, this is what I was doing. Let's see if you can see this up here. I was drilling these little holes up there because we have no insulation in our walls. And so we need to stick this insulation thing in there, and it's going to blow it down, and this house will be nice and insulated. But for me, I drilled 18 holes. We still have 50 to go. But that took me 3 hours today. I thought I was going to get the whole thing done. 18 of them took me 3 hours. And so realizing your journey could take slower than you want it to, but here's the tip I want to leave you with. What is the next best thing that you can do today to take a step closer to Christ? Instead of thinking I have so far to go, I'm never going to get there, and just being paralyzed by that. No, just what is the next one step that you can take in your journey today to get you to where you want to go? Maybe that's 18 holes that you drill out of 50, and just being okay with that and coming back the next day and doing something else in your spiritual walk. So what's the next best thing? And then lastly, what is it in your life that you need help with? Like I said, with this remodel, there's things that we have hired out because we just can't do it on our own. What are those things in your life that you cannot do on your own? What are those gaps in your life where you're I need a mentor, I need a pastor, I need a teammate, I need somebody to help get me over the hump. And again, this takes some self-awareness on your part to know what you actually can and can't do. But as you think through, just ask the Spirit, God, what do I need help with right now that I cannot do on my own? And here's the beautiful thing. Paul is speaking to the Philippians, and he says in Philippians 1 that God who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. So ultimately, it's not on us to do all of this. God has got us on a journey. God will bring our spiritual journey to perfection when he deems right. And he's actually the one who's overseeing the whole process. And so even against the backdrop of those 3 things that I shared, which hopefully will be helpful to you, what would it look like for you just to go to God right now and say, God, what do I need to do to grow spiritually? What's 1 or 2 things that's either an obstacle or will accelerate my spiritual growth? And ultimately, it falls back on the gospel. It falls back on us believing and trusting that Christ died for our sins to make us right with God. So as we continue to believe that and trust in that, hopefully we're waking up every day with this gratefulness that it's not dependent on us. God already made a way so we could be right with him. What would it look like for us to fully trust in that and live out our lives in light of that? You guys, I hope that 2020 is off to a good start for you. Hopefully next time you see me, I will have drywall up in these walls. Actually, hopefully next time you see me, I will not be in this house, but we're actually going to do one more thing different this semester with our digital chapels. Instead of having the Bible studies, which are still going on every day, we're not going to have those attached to this digital chapel. What we're actually going to do is create a set of maybe 5 to 8 questions that coincide with this digital chapel. And so if you want to use it in a small group setting or for a weekly meeting, you guys can watch this together and then kind of go over those 5 to 8 questions as a group. And then the devotionals will still be going on, but they'll be kind of detached from this digital chapel. So we have Bible studies coming out hopefully in the next few weeks for you guys to resource you. If there's anything that we can do to help serve you where you're at, Bible study topics, discipleship materials, please let us know. You can actually just email me directly. It is brian.smith@athletesinaction.org. And if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them and activate on them. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.